Hey everybody, Qroo here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a very useful phrase in Spanish, cada vez, which means each time. Now, it's one that can be used in a lot of different ways in Spanish. It's much more useful than a lot of people tend to realize when they first see it. And it's one that I think is really underappreciated, and well, it won't be after this video. I think you'll see how useful it is. So we're going to jump right into the main way that this is typically used, and that is to say every time that something happens, or each time that something happens. So right on your word list, you're going to have three words, cada vez que, cada vez que. Each time that is what we're literally saying, but in English we might say every time. Cada vez que te veo, me siento feliz. Every time I see you, I feel happy. Here's another example. Cada vez que Juan viene a mi casa, termina quejándose de algo. Every time that Juan comes to my house, he ends up complaining about something. Now, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here too far, but there's some useful stuff in that example, right? So we have what we're talking about. Cada vez que, every time, each time, however you want to look at it. Juan viene a mi casa. Juan comes to my house. Nothing too interesting there yet. That next part, though. Termina quejándose de algo. To end up doing something is a useful construction, so you might want to pop it on your word list while we're talking about it, and that would be using the verb terminar, followed by the Spanish gerund, the gerundio. And here we have quejarse, so we're making it quejándose, right? Termina quejándose, ends up complaining about something. You can use it with terminar or acabar. They both mean to finish, and they both work the same way. So he could have said, cada vez que Juan viene a mi casa, acaba quejándose de algo. Either one would have been fine. Now, when I've seen Spanish instructors talk about cada vez, that's the type of sentence they tend to mention, but we're going to take it a step further. So on our word list, the next one I want you to write is cada vez más. Three words, cada vez más. More and more. Think of it that way. La ciudad es cada vez más peligrosa. The city is becoming more and more dangerous. El tráfico es cada vez más pesado en la ciudad. Traffic is getting heavier and heavier in the city. So in English, sometimes we'll say the word twice, right? But you don't have to do that on the Spanish side. Ella se pone cada vez más nerviosa antes de los exámenes. She gets more and more nervous before exams. You starting to see how this thing works now? Take a look at this one. Me despierto cada vez más temprano. I wake up earlier and earlier. Now, on your word list, you may want to actually put a few more examples of things you're more likely to say, so they'll just come out without you having to think about them a lot. So one of them that I want to give you is more and more people. We say that a lot. More and more people believe this. More and more people are exploring the town. More and more people. Good way to do that is cada vez más gente. Pretty easy, right? You could have cada vez más personas also, but cada vez más gente, pretty safe. Let's do one. More and more people believe, cada vez más gente cree. What would they believe? I got one. Cada vez más gente cree que la mejor forma de aprender español es ver los videos de este canal. More and more people believe that the best way to learn Spanish is to watch the videos on this channel. I mean, if that's what they believe, you know. Here's another one. Cada vez más gente cree en los unicornios. More and more people believe in unicorns. That might also be a useful one for the word list, not the unicorn part, but creer en, to believe in. That might be good. Now, another thing you may want to say is more and more often, and there are a few ways to say this. Sometimes you can just say cada vez más, and it'll still work out. You'll also see cada vez más a menudo. Now, a menudo means often. It's two words. Like, el abuelito se duerme a menudo durante el día. Grandpa, falls asleep often during the day. A menudo. So we're just popping that on. Cada vez más a menudo, la gente prefiere hacer compras en línea en lugar de ir a las tiendas físicas. More and more often, people prefer to shop online instead of going to physical stores. And there's another useful prepositional phrase in there I want to point out. En lugar de, in place of, or instead of. Great one for your word list. So far the emphasis has been on cada vez más, but you could say cada vez menos, less and less. Tengo cada vez menos tiempo libre. I have less and less free time. We can change it again to cada vez mejor to say better and better. Mi español es cada vez mejor. My Spanish is getting better and better. And sometimes things get worse and worse, so we would have cada vez peor. Mi español es cada vez peor. My Spanish is getting worse and worse. So you're starting to get a feel for this now? Now, how I suggest you practice these is to try to use the two main usages that I've shown you in the same sentence. Something like, cada vez que estudio, entiendo cada vez más. Every time I study, I understand more and more. See, try to come up with sentences like that. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, just do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. And if you're not finding everything you want here on my main channel, remember I do have a private learning group called the Qroo Spanish Crew. It has exclusive content over there. It's not the same videos that I have here over there. They have exclusive courses, videos, worksheets, downloads. There's a forum to ask me questions directly and interact with other members. There's live events during the month. There's just a lot going on over there. And if you just want to sign up for 1 month and just binge watch videos and cancel, you can do that. Of course, I'm always adding new content, so you won't see that, but you could do that, you know. Well, that's all I have for today. So until next time, hasta luego. Back to my coffee.